I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. A court hearing has just wrapped up in New York State Court in the civil lawsuit brought by the New York Attorney General's office against Donald Trump, the Trump Organization, and Trump's adult children, seeking at least $250 million in damages for engaging in a decades-long scheme of making fraudulent valuations of Trump-owned properties on their statement of financial conditions sent to third parties like lenders, insurers, and taxing authorities. Now, the big news coming out of this hearing is that a trial date has been set by Judge Arthur Engoron, the trial judge presiding over this case. Trial will take place on October 2nd, 2023, and this trial date was set over the strenuous objections of the Trump Organization's lawyer and Donald Trump's lawyer and his adult children's lawyers, who all wanted to delay, and Judge Arthur Engoron was not having it. So, big headline, trial will be taking place October 2nd, 2023. The Trump's efforts to try to delay were rejected by Judge Arthur Engoron. But let's dig a little deeper into what transpired at this hearing, because at this hearing you had Alina Habba just completely humiliating herself as the lawyer, she likes to call herself, representing Donald Trump and the Trump Organization. So literally the day before the hearing took place, Alina Habba, like last night at 11 p.m., filed a motion to dismiss. And the motion to dismiss regurgitated all of the exact same arguments that the exact same judge, Judge Arthur Engoron, previously rejected during the special proceeding, which took place for over 3 years during the New York Attorney General's investigation, which preceded the filing of this civil lawsuit a few months back. And in that special proceeding, in that special investigation that took place, the Trumps made the exact same argument. And Justice Engoron said, why are you delaying and wasting the time of this court, of my staff, of the Attorney General's office? This is a direct quote from Justice Engoron today. He said, I think it was Yogi Berra who said, it's deja vu all over again. And Engoron continued to say, I ruled on all of these issues. It seems to me the facts are the same. The laws are the same. The parties are the same. I don't know why I and my staff, not to mention the Attorney General's staff, need to do this all over again. It's like jumping through the same hoops. And Alina Habba responded, well, we're going to litigate this fully. We're entitled to it. It sounds like we are always in a predetermined situation where you're always just going to rule against us. Quite honestly, it's unconstitutional and it's improper, to which Arthur Engoron, the judge, responded, you can't keep making the same arguments after you've already lost. That's what Engoron said. You can't keep making these same arguments, Alina Habba, after you've already lost. And the Attorney General's office, represented by Kevin Wallace, the Assistant Attorney General, basically mocked Alina Habba and said, look, they just come in here and all they say is, oh, this is unfair. This is unconstitutional. This is a travesty of justice. But they're not actually making any legal arguments to you, Judge. They just come in here and whine and complain. And then the Assistant U.S. Attorney General, Kevin Wallace, also pointed out that, look, we all know what's going on here. This is the Trump Organization playing the games that they always play, delay. And the fact that this took 3 years for us to have to eventually file this lawsuit was because at every turn, including the fact that Donald Trump and the Trump Organization was held in contempt of the court for not turning over records, it's all their fault. All of these documents, all of the issues that are currently at issue in this lawsuit, they involved documents that belong to the Trump Organization. And the fact it took us 3 years to have to penetrate the Trump Organization to get these records should not countenance any more delay. In fact, that's why we should have the trial right away in early October of 2023. And the Trump Organization's lawyers, Alina Habba and others, said, well, we're going to be prejudiced if this takes a very long, if we're not given more time here, and if this is actually going to take place on October 2023, we're not going to be able to prepare our defense. To which Judge Engoron said, these are all your documents. This case involves fraudulent valuations that you made. The Attorney General's office is either relying on your documents or the documents you gave to your former accounting firm, Meiselas. So you should know what's in your documents. This isn't like a case where there are these third-party subpoenas and third-party documents. The entire Attorney General's case, here are just some examples of the Attorney General's case. You gave a valuation of the Trump triplex at close to $300 million. You claimed it was 30,000 square feet. It's actually 11,000 square feet, and the true appraised value is less than $100 million. You inflated the valuation by $200 million. Why did you do that? Explain. Those are your documents. Or there's a group of 12 apartments that you own that have an appraised value because they're rent controlled at $750,000, but yet your valuation for them given on your statement of financial conditions, Trump Organization, was $50 million. So describe the difference there. Why was the appraisal $750,000 for the rent controlled apartments, but you gave the valuation of $50 million? And the same thing with Bedminster and Mar-a-Lago. All of these properties you gave inflated valuations to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars from what the underlying appraisal is based on false information that you provided. And then when the Attorney General had the opportunity to depose Eric Trump and Donald Trump and Alan Weisselberg, what did they do? I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. On the most basic questions, when Donald Trump was deposed in this matter and Trump was asked, well, why was the appraisal this? Or what was the appraisal? What was the valuation? Can you explain the difference? I mean, very basic questions. Trump, in the special proceeding, pled the Fifth Amendment, invoked his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination over 400 times. Now, one of the other really disingenuous arguments that the Trump Organization made at the hearing earlier today, which Judge Arthur Engoron saw through, is the Trump Organization said, well, look, since we now have an independent monitor, retired Judge Barbara Jones, who's monitoring all of our financial transactions, well, there's no need for a quick trial date because we've got this independent monitor taking, who could watch. So there's no more concern that we need to be held accountable now. Meanwhile, the Trump Organization still continues to appeal the appointment of the independent monitor. So their argument is completely disingenuous. They're citing the independent monitor as a way to try to delay. At the same time, they're trying to challenge the existence of the independent monitor. But all of those bad faith arguments were completely sussed out by Judge Arthur Engoron, and he rejected them. Now, one of the final issues is whether it's going to be a bench trial, meaning it's going to be before Judge Arthur Engoron, or whether it's going to be before a jury. The Attorney General's office requested that it be a bench trial before Judge Arthur Engoron. And this is what Alina Habba said. She goes, quote, "We would prefer to have a jury trial. Frankly, that would alleviate many of our concerns about impartiality." I mean, literally, this was Alina Habba doing what she does on the right-wing extremist echo chamber when she appears on those media platforms and just rails, "It's unfair. You're treating me unfair." And Judge Arthur Engoron was like, enough. like there's nothing unfair. We're following the law right here, and just stop complaining. And the Attorney General's office, Kevin Wallace, the assistant AG, really pointed that out and did a great job. So we'll see ultimately if it will be a jury trial and a bench trial. But one thing that we know for sure is that trial will be taking place on October 2nd of 2023. So justice is coming soon in this case, and the Trump organization, despite their efforts to try to avoid this trial and to try to delay, did not succeed in court today. I want to give a special shout out to Jose Pagliari of the Daily Beast, who was in the courthouse today and did an incredible live tweet stream of everything that's taking place. Support Jose Pagliari's journalism and check out his article, Judge Blast Trump Organization Lawyers for Delay Tactics. Again, the journalist's name is Jose Pagliari. And I also want to give a shout out to a Law 360 reporter named Frank G. Runyon from Law 360, who was also in court covering what took place in court today, who I based a lot of my reporting on today. I want to make sure we support the journalists who put in a lot of the hard effort, who are actually in the courthouses today. Those are two stellar reporters who deserve a lot of credit for the work that they do. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button right now. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your support. And in addition, check us out at Patreon at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. There's lots of exclusive content there, but most importantly, you can help grow this independent media platform. That's patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.